Welcome to Love to See It, a podcast about really liking a lady.
Really, really liking a lady and definitely not taking a leap of faith because that is simply something that Mel would never do.
It's something you wouldn't do. We're here to discuss the finale of The Golden Bachelor Season 2, Mel Owen's journey to find a lady that he likes and could potentially enjoy spending time with in the future.
That's so beautiful. Before we get into it, a little housekeeping. We are covering the new season of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives over on Rich Text. So make sure that you are subscribed at claireandemma.substack.com to get those episodes. There's so much in this new season that we are breaking our coverage up into two separate episodes. And it just feels really relevant given that Taylor Frankie Paul is going to be our new Bachelorette. So just a great opportunity to get to know her a little bit.
100%. So let's dive in for a big change. The first time since the premiere this season, we actually have 2 hours of reality television to cover here. So no, not a moment to waste. We start this episode with like a recap of Mel's fantasy dates with Peg and Cindy, leading us up to that cliffhanger ending from last week on Cindy's date when they're sitting on the dock under the stars amid the pillar candles. And she asks him if there's a will to make their relationship work. And he pauses. What will he say? Suddenly, we're on a soundstage, presumably in Los Angeles, and Jesse Palmer is walking us to the highly anticipated season finale of a show almost no one is watching.
Highly anticipated by 7 people.
By me. I'm like, yes,
By
speak it
us?
into existence,
Yeah,
Jesse. Yes.
by us and the people in the live studio audience.
He calls out some special guests in the crowd. Joan and Chalk are there. He asks them for an update. Joan has quite obviously lost her voice, but she manages to say that the last year has been a wonderful journey and they're so lucky to have found love at this age. And Chalk nods supportively. Gary is also there with his fiancée, Lana. And while Jesse points them out, Gary is not given an opportunity to talk at this point. Jess and Spencer are there, and Jess says they've been traveling a lot, and in a couple weeks she is moving to Dallas to pursue their life together. And we see that lots of the Goldens, past and present, are also there. So obviously this is a rich and thriving franchise full of happy couples, and that's what I want us all to take away from this.
Yeah. That's my main takeaway. So Jesse sends us right back to that dock where Cindy is waiting to hear whether Mel thinks there's a will. And he does?
Yeah, I was like, come on, he's not going to be like, no.
But he's like, yeah, of course, but it's a difficult time and situation. I am torn between you and Peg. So I'm going to say not
Yeah.
exactly what you want to hear.
The lack of enthusiasm, like the roteness of the response. Yeah, of course. Okay, sounds like you're real excited about it, my friend.
Poor Cindy is just trying not to fully shut down, which she tells Mel. She's like, I've been doing my best not to shut down. I'm trying to stay open. And Mel's like, yeah, I really appreciate that. You're a real brave soul for sticking through it. Because it would be easy to say, it's not working. I'm out. Like, Mel, you're at the
Yeah.
end.
This was the first point where I got the sense that Mel has certain tactics that he uses, like on his football players that he's coaching in Pee Wee football or on his sons, that I don't know would be appreciated from a romantic partner. Like, it's a little bit of like, this is a tough thing that you're doing. I'm like really impressed that you're sticking through it. And like, like kind of almost positioning it as like, if she then says, I'm not willing to stay, he is letting her know that he would see that as a weakness or a failure.
And he does.
And he does, 100%. But I'm like, he's kind of saying that to her here. He's like, I admire you for sticking through it. The easy and maybe like cowardly or lazy thing to do would just be to leave. You wouldn't do that, would you? Mel tells her that it's hard to find a partner, but it could happen here, and they agree that that would be amazing. He says it would be the greatest story ever written. And then he's like, and it has happened. That's true. It's happened before. If it happened here on this show. And Cindy tells him that she remembers having an overwhelming feeling about him, that no matter what, she wants him to be happy. And he says he is happy here with her. His heart tells him that he likes her a lot.
Truly incredible that we get all the way to the finale, and Mel cannot even bring himself to tell one of his final two that he like sees a future with her and could see himself falling in love with her.
No, yeah, he's just like, that would be obviously incorrect. So I'm going to stick with the truth. I'm listening to my heart. My heart says, Mel, you like this woman. She's nice. And in the moment, Cindy says that she believes him. She actually thinks they're well matched. They have great chemistry and conversations, but time is a ticking. And she decides to say something directly to Mel about how she feels like maybe their expectations are not aligning. I think we have a clip.
I need to be honest with you on my end. I didn't come here to explore options. I'm looking for a life partner.
I appreciate that. I just think that no matter what, the relationship would have to develop over time. Past the year, I don't know what would happen.
Do you feel at this moment that you're not going to be ready for a proposal at the end of this little experiment?
No. It has to develop over time. I don't have to propose when in my own head I go, you know what, in 2 years, I probably would marry her.
What is he talking about? First of all, what does he mean past the year? What year? Like you have a 1-year trial dating, or do you mean past the end of this year? Like what?
It doesn't make any sense. This is like gobbledygook, which I think Cindy correctly identifies as this man is unenthusiastic and doesn't want to make a commitment to me.
Right. I mean, what he essentially is saying is, why would I have to make a commitment to a woman when I know in my head that I might want to do that in the future? Well, because what does she know? Does she know how you feel? Like the point of the proposal or a commitment expressed to the woman is so that you understand each other's intentions. And you're like, no, as long as I feel good about it in my head, I don't really see what the issue is. The issue is her feeling of security in the relationship.
Right. And he hasn't offered anything else to like fill in that gap of security. Like, I actually
Right.
completely respect his right to be like, a proposal doesn't feel right at the end of
Sure.
this. It's too short. I want to build a life with you. That is completely fine. But if you're saying to someone, I like you, and maybe in 2 years, like, I would marry someone, and it's just, and none of it sounds enthusiastic. None of it sounds
Yes.
specific to her.
That's the thing. She ends up pushing for, I think, more than she might have even pushed for from him if he had been authentically conveying excitement about
Well,
a potential future
exactly.
together. And that's where there's a big divergence here. And I agree, it's totally fine for him, in my opinion, to be like, this process is crazy. Now that I'm here, I actually don't feel ready for an engagement. And if you feel differently, that's totally fair. Like you came into
Right.
this with that expectation, maybe we're just not aligned. But he becomes pretty irritable and angry that she does not just go with whatever is feeling right to him inside.
Yeah, that is what bothered me. So Cindy looks crestfallen at this answer and she just says, it's a different outcome than I considered. And in the moment, she's really put off. She's like, I cannot believe what I'm listening to. I gave him every opportunity to say, just be patient with me. I'm falling for you. He couldn't even go there. And she says she doesn't want to wait for 2 years. She says, if you find someone that's a good partner, that's your time to commit. And I think, yeah, Mel gets very fixated on like, you wanted me to marry you. But that's not what she actually wants here. She's just grasping at something specific that would indicate that enthusiasm and commitment.
She wants to hear, like, if you are the person I choose, I am ready for that step. She wants to hear, I'm really excited that I met you. You're such an amazing woman. You would fit into my life in these ways. And he can't give her even the smallest amount. I wonder if we're really seeing here partially the effects of Mel knowing so little about The Bachelor. Like, there are these scripts that people use to convey the things that they are allowed to convey without promising too much, but that still indicate mutual excitement about the relationship. I'm starting to fall for you. Like, I see a future with you. He doesn't have any of those to reach for. And in fact, he's confused about what those words might be, or like he doesn't think they exist.
He
He's
also
like,
seems
there's nothing, or
confused.
there's, I will marry you in a week.
He also seems very confused about the fact that anyone would come into this process thinking there would be a proposal, which it's like, Mel,
Right.
like,
I'm like,
you're allowed to not want it, but you can't be confused that people thought that might be part of what's happening here.
I think the extent of his preparation for this was learning about what happened at the end of Gary's season and being like, I will not let that happen. I will push them away. I will be rude to them if necessary so that they don't think that I'm going to pick them. Mel tells her that it's her choice too, which seems like a perfunctory thing because it turns out that when she makes a choice, he is
Pissed.
absolutely pissed and shocked. And Cindy says something that struck me as a bit odd, especially at the age of 60, which is that her philosophy is to behave as if her future husband would be proud of how she's living.
Cindy.
Cindy, free yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you are a fully grown woman. You are in your golden years. Why are you still basing your personal conduct around this like outdated idea of what your future husband deserves from your conduct right now?
You should make
own yourself.
yourself proud.
Yes. You seem like you have lived in a way that is much more, worthy of being proud of than, say, your ex-husband. So why are you still treating the future husband as some sort of moral arbiter? Make yourself proud here. Just like, ladies, I'm just really upset to see the resurgence of this kind of thinking.
Me too.
That's like, oh yeah, don't do anything that would mar you as like a gift for your future husband. Often it's framed in terms of like chastity. But even here, I'm just like, I'm sorry, you're 60 and you don't own your own life in this way. It's like an offering to your future
very
husband.
depressing.
Jesus Christ. She says it's a short process and maybe he doesn't have all the answers, but she wants her guy to feel like he got struck by lightning and he can't live without her. This is what we have seen teased. And I think we all knew when we saw that Mel was not going to be making her feel like he feels that way. Mel is impassive and he says, that's fair. Cindy says, I think you're great, but I'm not sure I want to free fall for that long. And in the moment, she says, I'm in my golden years. I'm 60 years old and I'm not interested in being put on hold. He is just not my person. And this made me really happy. I was like, Cindy knows what she wants. And while Cindy and I have many differences in how we approach life, I really love that she is affirmatively choosing what she wants.
I agree. And what I also found hilarious is that Mel is not clocking that she's making this choice. Because she says, I'm sorry. And he says, sorry about what? Like, he truly has not, he's not blacked back in.
Like, what is he getting out of this conversation that he has no idea? He's not picking up what she's putting
he's just
down.
like, I'm telling her what I want, and then we'll have time in the fantasy suite.
Right. He's like, well, actually, I'll listen to her in the fantasy suite.
He's banking on like the only real conversations that we have for actual information gathering will happen in private. So you just have to do that.
Yeah. And there are ways to signal, like, we can get more into these questions because I want to talk about those things too, like what our future would look like. But I think we're going to need more time. He's just like, no, I don't think that's necessary. Oh, I wonder why she didn't feel the need to go to the fantasy suite to discuss further. So he's like, sorry about what? And Cindy says, it's not what I want. That's hard for me to say. You're as good as they get. And she asks if it's okay if she leaves now. And Mel looks somehow both wooden and surprised at the same time.
It's true.
And he mumbles something in assent that I could not make out and walks her out. Cindy, walks down the boardwalk back to like the resort, I guess, and she finds a place to sit and cry alone. And we hear her saying, I'm just sick to my stomach. It's hard. I was so hopeful. It hurts really bad. From day one, I told everyone that's my guy. I still think we would be a great match, but tonight it's just really sad. Meanwhile, Mel is alone on the dock beneath the
This is
fireworks.
incredible.
I think what makes it even more dramatic is that the fireworks appear to be launching from just a couple dozen yards behind him back at the shore.
Also,
So you can see the rockets shooting up behind him.
and it's very loud. And also, he is not reacting to it. So he's just like sitting in
Right.
his chair, staring. And there's just like shooting stars going off behind him.
Right.
It's
Loud.
so
And
funny.
the effect is so ominous and apocalyptic. And you're like, oh, this is what would normally be happening. But they would be kissing and there would be music over everything to make it seem really dreamy and romantic. But instead, it feels deeply frightening and like war zone adjacent. Like that's the aesthetic that is more being evoked here. He tells us, she left. I'm shocked. The date, it was perfect. I came in tonight thinking there was a future, but she quit. She quit. I don't have the choice. Now I don't. She's gone. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Like, Mel, you didn't tell her there was a future.
Right. You could
Sir.
have said that a little more. He's like, I didn't tell her there wasn't a future, so I don't see
Like,
what.
Mel, you could have told her, wow, this date has been so perfect with you. I really can see a future.
I'm just like struggling to imagine being in a relationship with someone this lacking in emotional intelligence. Like to have to explain, I need you to express that you see a future in somewhat positive terms.
And I'm like,
not just through a lack of denial.
part of me is like, he just wasn't that enthusiastic about Cindy, maybe is part of it.
I think that might have been part of it, but I think that he feels really offended that he didn't get the choice.
Oh, he does.
And that's what it's all about. He's like, she quit. She's a quitter. And because of that, I don't get the choice anymore. Now what? Now what do? I don't get to make a choice because she's a quitter. You can just like hear him like with one of his sons being like, oh, are you going to be a quitter now? Like just because you had one bad game, you don't want to play peewee hockey anymore? You're going to be a quitter? Like, I'm like, that's the mindset he's bringing to dating a woman who doesn't want to be with him anymore.
Lord.
But also this is an incredible scene. Like the cinema of the visuals and the sounds, and then Mel's actual reaction, the grievance and the anger really kind of surprised me. I thought he might feel some self-reflection, like
No.
I failed.
That does not come. The whole episode, you will not see that.
And it's wild because this is what we saw Jesse very gently trying to guide him to prevent last episode. And he continues to try to be like, maybe she wants to feel affirmed and chosen. You know, you need the confidence to continue competing, to feel wanted. Like, is there a way that you can provide some of that to these women without promising too much?
And Mel's like,
no. What are you talking about? It sounds like gibberish to me when you speak, Jesse. I will not be doing that.
On that note, we're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, the fallout of Cindy leaving.
And we're back. So speaking of Jesse and his futile efforts to prevent this, Jesse comes out to the dock to sit with Mel under the stars and console and counsel him. And he asks Mel how this came about. Mel describes how he told Cindy that he doesn't make decisions on leaps of faith. He also becomes very defensive about this. He's like, people keep trying to make me take a leap of faith. And like, I just
do that.
don't do that. Like, I won't. Jesse asks if it came down to Cindy wanting to get engaged and Mel not feeling ready for that. And Mel basically says yes. He just wanted to find someone he can be happy with. He knows how he operates. It happens over time. And I'm like, well, if you know how you operate, then why are you here? It's great to know how you operate, but it kind of seems like you came on a show that is quite antithetical to the way that you operate, which is fine. I personally agree. Like, I feel the same as you. I know that I would not feel comfortable getting engaged at the end of a show like this.
Claire,
but
he didn't research this show, okay?
I mean, you're not even a contestant where you're like, it probably won't even come to that. Like, you are the lead. There was a 100%
Claire, he didn't
chance that you would
even
have to
know
confront
the
this.
ages of the women he was going to date on this show. He didn't even look up the basic premise. You think he knew there was a proposal at the end?
They couldn't sit him down for like a timeshare presentation style training where they were like, here's the top bullet points, here for the right reasons, proposal at the end, fantasy suites equal off camera intimacy. Like, he doesn't know anything. Jesse tries to sort of present Cindy's case, and I thought very accurately and thoughtfully to Mel. We have a clip.
23 women show up to this hoping they're going to be engaged to you at the end of it.
Yeah, but that's not true. Not all of them.
Does any part of you regret just definitively telling her, I'm not going to propose to you?
I mean, it would have been disingenuous for me to tell her something different, just to string her along, right? But again, you never know what's on the other end. Like, hey, by the way, I know you're gonna get proposed to, but we'll make this thing work. What does the future look like? I don't know. Let's see. You know, and she's someone I really, really liked.
Wow, that's so affirming.
I'm
We'll
sorry,
see. We'll see.
The condescension of this, like, you don't know what little treat is inside if you just open the little package. Like, maybe it's like a really good toy. Like, the way that he's talking about her, like she is someone who should just be like waiting to see what lucky level of commitment Mel might be willing to give her, instead of someone who would be in theory like a partner in deciding what their relationship looks like, really put me off. Like, oh, you're
I
not going to
hated
get proposed
this.
to, but here's a little something else I might be able to do for you. Like, this
Also,
is
his
your
reassurance,
partner.
his reassurance is, what does the future look like? I don't know. Let's see. Okay, so that's zero
Yeah.
reassurances, Mel.
Yeah. Congrats.
Like,
Congrats on your amazing treat that Mel is willing to give you, maybe. I agree it's better than stringing her along, but it's like he has this weird level of binary thinking about emotional affirmation.
right.
Where he's like, either I will tell her that we are going to be together and married, or I have to
Tell her nothing.
tell her
Give her
nothing.
nothing.
And Jesse's trying to be like, maybe you could have showed more openness to different futures your relationship could take. And he's like, no. Maybe he's genuinely not open to anything.
Jesse's
Like that at
trying
all.
so
I don't
hard.
know. Jesse asks if he was falling in love with Cindy, and Mel says maybe. Jesse says that in Cindy's defense, at this point, a lot of people get really scared. It's close to the end. There's another woman, and she doesn't know anything about his relationship with Peg. Jesse says she's probably just protecting her heart. The fact that he has to explain this kind of like obvious emotional reality for Cindy to Mel, and Mel still doesn't understand, is like shocking to a degree that like I've never seen a lead be this incapable of processing the emotional reality of their finalists. Like, even when it's being directly explained to him, he's just like, no.
He's
I
like,
don't
well,
care.
she quit. There was a game, and the game wasn't over. And she left the game.
Yeah. He's like, for a football analogy, I always tell my boys, keep playing. The game ain't over till the game's over. And when it's over, it's over, because she could have been the one. Like, he's like, she should have kept playing. It wasn't over. I'm like, you are not a football game, Mel. She wasn't like going all out until the end to try to win a football game, because you are not a football game. Like, with a football game, there's no point where you're like, boy, it sure feels like this football game doesn't want me very much. Maybe I should just go take a nice hot shower and binge watch some TV instead.
Of further humiliate myself and wait to be rejected in a more spectacular way.
This analogy is so deranged. Like, it's completely unreflective of the realities of what being in a mutual relationship. Like, Cindy doesn't want to catch a last-minute Hail Mary and somehow pull things out. She wants you to want to be with her. Jesse asks who Mel was leaning toward tonight, and he says he didn't know. And then he says, you got to finish the process, man. You got to finish the journey. She wasn't in for the long run.
God,
So now
Mel.
he's like, he's settling on like, she's a quitter. She wasn't committed enough to this relationship.
Mel. Jesse tells Mel that along the way, you need to be validated to have the confidence to press forward. Ding, 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 ding. this doesn't really land for Mel. He just returns to, she left.
Right.
And
Yeah,
Jesse tries once more. He's like, she's still physically here. Like, do you want to go after her? You can talk to her again.
Mel doesn't want to quit her.
No, it's so obvious that Mel is like, she left, it's done. Why would I ever speak to her again? Because
Right.
then we just like cut back to the sound stage. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
I think they would have showed us that footage if it happened.
Mel was told that the format was that he got to pick from 2 women at the end. And he's like, I have been duped and lied to. I've been scammed. She quit. That's not allowed. Is that allowed? I'm hearing it's allowed, but it makes me mad. So the next thing we see is indeed Jesse welcoming Cindy to the soundstage, looking lovely in a shimmering sort of gray sequin gown. And Jesse asks her about rewatching that scene on the dock. And she basically says that she's really glad to see it because after leaving, she had started to question herself and her perceptions of what happened. She started to wonder, like, was he offering me more than I thought? And I just didn't hear it right. But she says it was such a strong feeling at the dock that I needed to get up. And my memory was trying to erase it.
That makes so much sense to me.
Right. She's basically like, now that I'm seeing it, no, I was right.
Yeah, she's like, no, I was not crazy. He was giving me as little as I thought he was, and that doesn't work for me.
Jesse asks if Mel came to find her after she left, and I think we all know the answer, because if he had, we would have footage of that. And Cindy says he did not come find her, and she didn't want him to. Her mind was made up. She felt Mel was not in it for the same kind of relationship she was, and that's fine, but it wasn't what she wanted, which I think shows an openness to the possibility that other people are valid in wanting different things than
Yeah.
you want, that Mel is still struggling with. Jesse asks what she needed to hear from Mel that night to stay, and Cindy says that she loved Mel's compliments. You're so beautiful, you're so smart, but she needed to hear how it fit into his life or how her traits mattered to him. Like, I can see our life together because, or like, I love how kind you are because, and not just like, you're nice, and that's nice. She says that he was just observing her.
And I think she's right.
I thought it was interesting that she said that because I think that that is something that we have also danced around at various points, that it feels like he's just kind of, watching the women.
And being like, yeah, you're good.
Yeah, you're good. That was very astute. Cindy tells Jesse that she was in it until the end, 100%. And that she was surprised to hear he wasn't ready for a proposal because at rose ceremonies, he would talk about his wife maybe being in the room or how he loved being married. And like, yeah, he's certainly open to that at the end of the year in a couple of years when he sees how things feel. She's like, there's a gold ring in our logo. It's something we all expected. Mel's never seen the logo.
Yeah, please. Mel did zero research.
Mel was airdropped into this show. So Jesse asks why she walked away knowing his feelings could have changed. And Cindy has her line ready here. She says, I don't think I need to convince a man to love me. The room goes absolutely nuts.
As it should. This was great.
Passionate applause.
This was also an incredible Golden Bachelorette audition.
Incredible. I think she has taken the lead. She says that his analogy was to finish the game, and she says, I was in the wrong stadium, and everyone is whooping and clapping, and her 3 gorgeous daughters are in the audience together, just like applauding
Beaming
with
for
stars
their
in their
mother.
eyes. And I think that that was very well put. She's like, I didn't want to win this game anymore. This was not the right game for me.
Like, we just didn't want the same things.
Right. So why
That's
am I
allowed.
competing for this? Yeah. Jesse asks if any part of her wishes she had stayed, and she pauses but says no. Jesse asked why they couldn't get on the same page, and she says, she really picks up on the analogies and like runs with them. She's like, if we could have gotten on the same page, we could have written a whole book together, the best fairy tale. But he wanted a comic book, something shorter and lighter and no commitment. Did she have that prepared? I was like, where are you whipping these,
I mean, maybe.
metaphors
She's clearly
from?
thought about it.
Yeah. Cindy says that she wouldn't have taken all the time and gotten all the gowns just to date. She can date back in Austin. I think this is an interesting I feel like that's the show used to position it so much as like, I'm going on The Bachelor because I've tried everything else, and this is like a last ditch effort. Nothing else has worked. But more and more, I think we're hearing this attitude of like, why would I go through all this effort just to date and not get engaged? I date all the time. I can just go on my phone and I have a date.
Right.
Like,
Well, I
I
think
can
the
go to a
thing
bar
that
and I have a date.
sets The Bachelor or any dating show apart is this assumption that everyone is there for a long-term commitment. And so you
Yeah.
feel like, okay, I'm going to expose myself in this big way. It might be embarrassing to do this. It's going to like, yeah, I'm going to have to buy all of these clothes and like worry about my appearance on television. But if it works out at the end, I just get to leapfrog over all the bullshit.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right. I think part of it is probably the fact that there is this very expansive scene of also other dating shows
Right.
where you're like, I didn't have to go on The Bachelor even to go on a reality show and meet someone. Like, this is the marriage show. Like, I'm supposed to be getting married. She tells Jesse that she would have moved to the OC for Mel, partly because she says, another daughter who lives in LA. I was like, do you have 4 daughters, Cindy? What's going on? Do you have a secret 4th daughter? I assume just one of her daughters lives in
Yeah.
LA, but the way that she put it was very confusing. Mel joins Cindy and Jesse on stage at this point in his trademark look of an ill-fitting black suit, really ugly
Paisley tie.
tie that's like gray.
I mean, of course
And-
it's gray. Of course it's gray, Claire. The man loves gray.
They hug, and Mel smiles warmly at her and leans in a little too much, and then just sets about being a hugely condescending prick. I was like,
Yes.
why are you acting so warm and cozy when you're
About to be such a dick.
right? It was almost more gross to me. It felt a little like slimy and unctuous to be like, oh, it's so good to see you, and like leaning in with the big grin, and everything he has to say to her is just the nastiest thing. And Cindy starts by trying to like create kind of a nice moment. She compliments his shoes and then points out like, "Oh, I wish I could wear them. Like mine might like look fancy or sexy, but like they're hard to walk in." I think this also nicely tees Mel up for a moment of graciousness by being like, "Well, you look lovely." And instead he's like, "Yes, I have the best shoes. They're Hokas or UFOs, they're the best." And I'm like, "Okay, so you're not going to be gracious to Cindy." Like her attempt to like create a nice low key moment.
Well, he doesn't pick up on things.
Yeah. But I'm like, okay, get that bag, I guess. Like take this moment to promote some shoes.
Hoka and UFOs must be like so thrilled with all of this coverage.
She emotionally tells him that she had replayed the doc scene a million times in her mind, and she asks when he knew he wasn't ready for a commitment. And I don't know why Mel starts by saying, I can help you out, like she's not expressing herself well, because I think that she was expressing herself pretty clearly. But he cuts in and is like, I can help you out. I was ready. And he says that his head and heart, I guess, like weren't there with her, like the conversation hadn't gotten them there. And he thought in the fantasy suite they'd have more time to talk without cameras or mics, but it never happened. You get the sense that they tried to prep Mel for this, and he was like, got it. I'm going to come in very defensive and be like, it's your fault because you wouldn't go to the fantasy suite with me and you demanded marriage, which isn't very nice to Peg, to be honest.
That part
And
is
she's going to look like a
crazy.
real shrew. Cindy says they didn't get there because she wasn't sure she wanted him to lead her to the fantasy suite when he couldn't lead in a relationship with her.
Cindy, you got to get past the leading. I don't.
Is Cindy spending a lot of time on like the pink pill?
Yeah,
social
maybe.
media.
I'm concerned.
Sphere? She is on the womanosphere. She's in her feminine. She needs a man who can lead in their relationship. She points out that he said more to Jesse than to her.
This is
Yes.
true. This is true, and I noticed this too. And Mel is like, well, some things need to be said in private or on camera with Jesse.
He's like, it needed to be in the fantasy suite. And he has prepared some thoughts for her on how her performance could have been improved. I think we have a clip.
You got to finish the journey. What you wanted was a proposal, but there's another person there. You just can't leapfrog over that person. If I say it's to you, then it's over. But it wasn't over. There's someone there. So you have to continue the journey. Like I told you before, it's going to take time. The saying, first comes love, then comes marriage, right? And then baby carriage just won't happen, but you know what I'm saying, right? That's how it works. We talked about the leap of faith. I don't operate that way in my life.
Cindy, let me ask you, have you ever heard that Cindy and Mel sitting in a tree, KISSING? You know what I mean? You understand. What are you doing?
I'm unwell that he pulled that one out. First comes love, then okay.
And he's like, this is really going to help you understand because you're a mental child. I think nursery rhymes are going to help you understand the concept that you seem to be struggling with, Cindy. Have you considered that, like, Peg exists? Like, I know it's hard to have object permanence at your mental age, Cindy, but Peg is a real person. Mel, what are you doing? Did you decide to come in just acting like a patronizing asshole as a strategy, or you just can't help
next
yourself?
Next comes marriage is crazy.
Crazy work. Like, what? What?
Also to be like, oh, just so you know, like, you're 60. We're not having
We're
a
not
baby.
going to be having babies.
Like, she knows.
Oh, she knows.
She's aware. She's aware, Mel.
And I think that should also indicate to you that the rule book's out the door. Like, she can't even have the baby carriage. So maybe they can have marriage before love. There's no rules, Mel.
Right. Also, Mel, do you understand you both already had the baby carriage and now you're looking for love and maybe marriage again? Like, what are you talking about?
I don't know what he's talking about, but he is being an asshole. Like,
this is so rude.
The tone is so unnecessary. It is so condescending. He is talking to her like she is dumb. No one is willing to be spoken to like this.
Yeah, and you can just see she's trying to keep it together. And Mel, keeps talking about like the leaps of faith. And she's like, okay, that's fair. We just weren't aligned. And she says it just surprised her that they got so far before she understood his like boundaries or what he wanted.
And he's like, oh, so far, but there was still time. You didn't exercise that option. This episode really reminded me that Mel is a lawyer. He's always like, that's your prerogative, and you didn't exercise that option. But let me, you're actually kind of speaking two things here. Let me sort of unpack that for you a little bit. They're not reconcilable. I'm like, Mel, she's not a legal brief. She's not a football team, okay? Like,
this is just
she's
so
a woman you are dating.
Obnoxious. And then Cindy finally gets a little pissed off, which I was like, good. She's like, I had learned enough. And I was in it for a commitment at the end. And Mel says, if you get the commitment then you're satisfied. But there's another person there. And this is what would have sent me over the edge and clearly sends Cindy a little over the edge because her tone shifts a bit. And she says, I wasn't asking for a commitment then. And you don't have to remind me about the other woman. I was very aware there was another woman there. And she says, like, I think I was quite gracious about it. She says, I never tried to press you to compare our relationships because that would be wrong. And it's like, yes, this had nothing to do with Peg. She was saying, would you be ready for a proposal to anyone at the end of this?
This is such a standard Bachelor conversation. Like, how was he not prepared for this? He doesn't even have to say, yes, definitely. Maybe he's prepared to say, it's
I don't
possible.
know.
Like, there's still a little time. I hope that our relationship or, I can get there with someone by the end. That's entirely possible. That's what she was looking for. And he doesn't have to say that if he doesn't believe that. But he doesn't also need to lie about what she was saying. He doesn't need to spin what she was saying to make her sound unreasonable. She was not asking for a commitment at the time. She was quite explicitly asking about a commitment at the end when there would only be one woman left. And so then to be like, wow, I can't believe you're asking for a commitment right then when there's still another woman there. Like what a nasty thing to do. She wasn't.
She
And
was
she keeps
so
saying that.
obviously not. And she keeps repeating this, and he will not accept it. He's just really stuck on this idea that she like demanded that he marry her that night.
Right. He's fixated on it. He's like, you wanted a commitment to marry me at that moment, and I wasn't there. And she says, I didn't mean we. Like, I was just asking if you'll be ready to propose to someone at the end. And Mel sounds more and more irritable throughout this conversation. It's like he's chastising her at this point. He's like, that's why you have that extra time in the fantasy suite to talk things out. You decided to leave.
Finally, Jesse interjects and asks why Mel struggled to open up to Cindy about his feelings for her. And Mel is like, what are you talking about? Mel. He's like, I liked her. Mel.
Yes, it was very straightforward. I liked her. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been there. I found that very easy.
And he, again, brings it back to the leap of faith. He doesn't do that. She
Yeah.
wanted him to, she wanted to marry him right away. He doesn't do that. It's like he's not hearing a single thing that
Well,
she's
he
saying.
came in with his like set points. Like, you asked for a commitment when Peg was still there, and that was wrong. You refused to go to the fantasy suite, and that was wrong. And you asked for a leap of faith, and that was wrong because I don't do that. They've covered the first two, but he's like, we've reached this point in the conversation. Now I'm being asked about what I did wrong. And I don't like that.
He's like, I did
Let's take it
nothing
back
wrong.
to let's take it back to the leap of faith thing. We never talked about that, and I have some points to make about that.
Cindy expresses some of her thoughts on this. We have a clip.
I'm a very wise woman. I'm not getting married. There was no wedding at the end of this week. There was a hope for a commitment and to take this fairy tale into a happily ever after. That's what I was looking for.
Okay. You're speaking two different things. One, the whole time you said death do us part.
Yeah.
Commitment, walking up with the ring, all of that. It seemed like you wanted to skip the part over and just get the commitment and the marriage part.
I even told you I would move. I would be willing to leave my life in Austin, move to California, near you, not with you, to start to pursue a life with you. There's no rush. We have lots of things to
That
discover.
didn't interest me, though.
Okay. So to be
Oh
clear,
my
she's like,
God.
I wasn't rushing you. I was willing to move near you so that we could build our relationship and see where it went. And he says, yeah, that didn't interest me, though. Cindy looks like she has been slapped in the face.
I would
think
too.
I think that I also did, alone in my apartment, look like I had been slapped in the face.
Also, like, Mel, if that didn't interest you, then you clearly weren't into her. So why would you care if she left?
Right. And if that's not exactly like, if you mean like, I don't think we were on the same page about the next step in a relationship. Like, I wanted to take a different path. There are so many kinder ways
Yes.
to express that. That was like the rudest thing I have ever seen a lead
He's so
say
rude
to
to
the
her. It's
person
wild.
I couldn't even process. Cindy like kind of shorts out. She's like, what do I even do with this? Like, she looks like slapped, and then she stops herself from saying something and like just turns back to Jesse. Like, she's like, clearly this conversation
I
she
mean,
doesn't
yeah,
even
there-
say anything.
There is literally no point.
Like, and then the sound did the sound for you kind of blank out here? I was like, did someone yell something inappropriate? Or is it just a glitch? But yeah, I couldn't believe that. And he's trying to kind of lawyer her on some of these points here. And like, yes, Mel, you are a lawyer. Your big analytical brain is so smart. We're going to hear so much about that soon. But like, it's actually not inconsistent for her to say, I wanted a commitment to make things work and to work toward marriage at the end of this week if I was the person you chose. But I wasn't in a rush to get married right away.
That is the thing also about
That's
a
not
proposal
inconsistent.
on these shows, that like you can get engaged and never get married. You could
Joan
be
and
engaged
Chuck are
forever.
engaged. They're still
Right.
not married.
Yeah, that's really normal. Spencer and Jess have been living apart. The next step is that she's moving to be near him.
And the whole time they are engaged. Like,
Right.
but he's like, no, that's not how it works. First comes dating, then comes then comes love, then comes proposal, then comes
Maybe.
marriage, then comes the baby and the baby carriage. There's an order. There's just no need to be this nasty to her about it and to act like she is stupid or lying or asking for things that she was not asking for to make her seem like a selfish,
That part
inconsiderate
really,
person.
really frustrated me.
Yeah.
So Jesse's just like, okay, we gotta wrap this up. And Cindy seems to agree. He asks Cindy about her heart, and she's trying to make nice. She's like, Mel, I did love you so much. I just want you to be happy with or without me. And he says, likewise.
Likewise. That should have been the tagline of the whole fucking season. Mel Owens, the Golden Bachelor. Likewise. That is the strongest thing he can say.
He loves a likewise.
She tells Jesse her heart is wide open. She's really ready for her person now, and she thinks he's out there. And Jesse appears to almost be trying not to say, like, I'm so sorry he's talking to you like that. He's like, I agree, he is out there, and I think we can also agree that you are the embodiment of class. And everyone applauds wildly.
Again, Cindy for Golden Bachelorette. She's really taken the lead.
And then we return to Antigua to see how Mel explains all of this to Peg. Although I do think we got a little preview of how Mel has been explaining it to Peg. She wanted me to commit to her even though you were still there. What a bitch. But Peg is looking like a beach goddess, doing her makeup with her like blonde curls poppin', little white top on, and she's journaling on a beachy bed while she's preparing to meet Mel's sons. But she is anxious knowing that he was with Cindy in the fantasy suite. She doesn't want to get her heart broken again. And then there's a knock on the door, and it's Mel. And Peg being Peg, she greets him enthusiastically, but her eyes look a little bit wary. This is not usually good.
Yeah, if I were Peg, I would be panicking.
Yeah, like he doesn't want to take me to the finale, so he's going to dump me now is what it usually means. But they sit, and he has prepared an eloquent statement. He says, you know how I feel about you, right? And that hasn't changed. And it won't change, no matter what happens. But something did change. And he brings up the date with Cindy and again reassures Peg that she knows how he feels about her. He says that Cindy had questions for him about a proposal and marriage, and he was honest with her, so she decided to leave before the overnight. This really surprises Peg. She
Peg
keeps
is
being like, wow,
shocked.
she's shocked. I would be shocked. And in the moment, she is spinning out a little bit for Peg. Like, Peg is very even-keeled. But she's like, it makes me nervous that Cindy didn't like his answers about commitment. Like, what were his answers? And she also tells Mel that she thinks Cindy has every right to want to be committed to.
I loved that she said this.
Yeah.
That in this moment, and I do think, as we will see, that Peg and Mel are just genuinely far better suited to each other, and they do want the same things. But I love that in this moment, Peg was like, Cindy has every right to want the things that she wants and to stand up for that.
And I think it's notable that Peg didn't say, she was asking about commitment, but
That's
there's
so rude
still
to
another
me.
woman here. She understands why Cindy might have questions about commitment, even though they're at this stage in the process, and Mel doesn't. But Mel keeps affirming that he still wants to move forward with Peg, and he asks if she's still there with him. And she's like, I'm okay, even though she's having some questions inside. In the moment, Mel says his relationship with Peg is one of a kind, and he doesn't want her to feel like she's there by default. On that note, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, the culmination of Mel's journey.
And we are back, and we see Mel walking in slow-mo down the beach in his white linens, while we hear him say that he wishes Cindy well. I don't believe him. He says, it was very painful, but surprisingly, I feel really hopeful. And his relationship with Peg is special. She's so down to earth and genuine. And she is. And he
Yeah.
immediately seems lighter when he talks about her, to be honest.
Yeah. I think personally that a lot of his hurt and pain at Cindy leaving is just, kind of the feeling that a football game has when one of the teams forfeits. It's just like, no, I was really excited to be competed over.
Yeah.
And now I don't get to choose a winner. But he is excited to introduce Peg to his sons, Andre and Lucas, and his college friend, Diane, who are waiting for them. Mel goes to see them first and reveals to them that there's only one woman left. And he says the other ended up saying, "Are we going to get married at the end?" But he couldn't tell her that because there was someone else. So she just left. And they're all shocked. And Diane says, "I don't love what she did." And I was like, Diane, watch yourself.
Then
Then she's like, "But I do respect that she knows herself well enough to know that she couldn't handle the process."
I mean,
And-
to be fair, he is framing it to them.
Right. I was
that-
like, imagine if she knew what actually happened.
Yeah.
And in the moment, she says she can tell it was really bothering Mel and that he has a huge heart, but you don't see it
I agree.
because he thinks practically instead of emotionally. Mel is becoming this avatar of traditional masculine, left and right brainness. It's like, oh, he's just so analytical
He's so
and
logical. He can't have any emotion.
it's not that he doesn't love you. It's just that he doesn't know how to understand that he loves you or express it to you in any way because he's just so analytical. And sometimes you're just too smart and men are, and you don't know how to be nice to people. Mel tells them that Peg is really smart and really good looking, and she was a firefighter on the bomb squad, and the boys are immediately impressed. She is a badass.
It's very
and he's like, yes,
sweet.
she is. They love Peg, and I
love
think it's
it.
adorable.
It's really, really cute. Peg meets Mel on the beach with flowers and a gift, and he's like, "Oh, flowers for me?" They're joking around. Peg is like, No, these aren't for you. You don't get these. And it's just every time he is around Peg, she brings a glow to him. I'm like, Mel is only likable when he's around Peg, so I'm really happy they're together.
Yeah, it's kind of wild how he's a completely different person with Peg than he is with anyone else.
Yeah.
She's really excited to meet the boys because kids are a reflection of us as parents, which I don't agree with depending on how my kids are acting that day.
You're like, sometimes
I'm doing my best.
They're not.
And she also feels that that's a similarity that she and Mel have, that they both have kids that they really focused on after their divorce. And now they're finally kind of putting themselves first. So she talks to the two boys and they ask what she thinks about Mel. And she says they're a lot alike. People keep saying this and
I
they do
haven't
not
seen
seem
it,
alike to
but
me.
okay.
They're aligned on certain things that matter, as we will discuss, but I rarely am like, wow, they're the same person in the way that all these other people are. Peg asks what kind of partner would be good for Mel, and they say easygoing and mellow. It seems like you would need to be easygoing and
Yeah.
mellow to deal with some of what we just saw from Mel. Peg also has a word association game for them with words like accountability or avoidance and funny or serious to associate with their dad. And they say he is accountable, both funny and serious, and analytical. But they assure her that the emotion is down there.
And she's like,
really
is
deep.
it? Is it? You have to
Really
dig
deep.
for it?
And at the end of this conversation, Lucas tells her she's the perfect gal for their dad, especially her energy. They really love her.
Yeah, one of them says, I can talk to her like she's a friend, which is such high praise.
I know. They're like, she's personable. She matches our vibe. She really likes our dad. She's great. We would love to hang out with her. I
It's
mean,
very
imagine
sweet.
getting two teenage boys to just want to hang out with their stepmom.
As
Great.
an
I
adult
love
woman,
that.
I can't imagine ever impressing a teenage boy. So
Same. I can't impress my own children.
And they're not even teenagers yet.
I know. God, can you imagine? They're going to bully me so bad. Diane's opinion also means a lot to Mel. And I was like, as a woman who is his age, did she ever tell him to consider dating women his own age? Would he have taken that seriously? And she also chats with Peg to get a sense of her. And she brings up how hard it would be to blend their lives at this age since they're so settled. And Peg says it takes time and communication, which seems like the right answer. Diane asks if Peg is falling in love, and Peg says she's not there yet. Did
They're
this surprise you?
They're perfect. Yes, but I was like, that's good.
Yeah, because he's not there yet.
He's not there yet either. Like, there's no pressure between them. They actually do want the same things and they want to go at the same pace. So, like, that's a great match.
No, you're completely right. I was just like, wow, we've reached the finale and no one is in love.
No one is even
No one is
falling in love. Yeah, it's kind of wild.
Diane says Mel has a big heart, but a lawyer brain, and she's hopeful that his heart is winning that battle. And Peg says that you can talk yourself out of things with that brain. And Diane agrees. She's also a lawyer, so she knows how it is. It's so hard to be a lawyer. It's sort of like being a man because you're burdened with rationality. And sometimes it's hard to be so rational.
I don't know anything
you know?
about that as a woman and not a lawyer.
Yeah. If you wanted to know what it's like to be a man, you do have to become a lawyer first. Afterward, Diane tells Mel that Peg is exactly like him.
There's so many sides of Mel that we clearly aren't seeing, is what I'm gathering.
I mean, sorry. Sorry, John. I mean, it makes me think that maybe what Peg brings out of him is the Mel that other people know.
And he's
And
just
that
so
maybe-
uncomfortable in this setting. He's so ill-fitting for this setting.
Right. I'm like, is he so uncomfortable on camera and his chemistry with Peg is the only thing that can kind of break through that?
I mean, as far as we've seen, certainly.
Diane immediately gives Mel and Peg the couple name Meg. By accidentally saying their names at the same time. But they're like, yeah, that's great. And she's like, I like you together. She asks if he's been able to articulate his feelings for Peg. And he says yes, because we had that time behind closed doors. Okay. Like he's already being defensive to Diane in this moment about how it was okay for him to say his feelings for Peg because they were behind closed doors when he never did that with Cindy. It's like crazy to me how fixated he is on
Diane
that
is
in
not
this
even
moment.
questioning him. Calm down.
But like she kind of clocks a little bit of what he's doing, that he is not speaking emotionally about his relationship with Peg. He's being like, because we had that time behind closed doors, okay? And so we were able to like talk about those questions of like, then what happens after this?
And
what
Diane
happens
is
after
like,
this?
no. I'm asking you if you're falling in love. I'm asking about feelings.
Right. She's like, I can hear your analytical brain telling me how this works. But my question is whether you're falling in love. And Mel's like, well, all I got to do is continue on the journey. And I'm like, Mel, you are still telling her how it works.
Also, there's like one day left. How much more of this journey do you think is coming?
Hey,
I mean, whatever.
The journey of life never ends. But he does tell Diane that he really likes Peg. And I guess that's the best he's like, I've looked deep into my heart. I like her. She's nice. And I also think that what's interesting here is that after this conversation with Diane, we start hearing Mel, like he latches on to the analytical brain thing. And he is constantly from this point forward being like, I'm just so analytical and I don't want that to get in the way of my big warm heart. You know, my intelligence in some senses is almost my stumbling block. And it's like, that hasn't come up before, but Diane says this thing about his analytical brain to him, and suddenly it's like all he talks about for the rest
like,
of the
thank
finale.
you. Thank you to my friend Diane. She has explained me to me.
Yeah. And in the moment, he's like, Diane is brilliant, and I really do take her counsel, and I don't want to mess it up with a woman I really like by letting my big, huge, analytical, smart brain get in the way of my big, warm heart. Afterwards, Peg feels great. It went better than she expected. She loved the boys, and they sit on a bench under like a gazebo, and she tells him that she wants to take the boys home with her. And Mel jokes, what about me? I knew I was going to get left out. You would just never see this interaction with like any of the other women.
No.
They say goodbye, and now it's time for him to make a decision with his heart and with his gut. He's like, I just need to get out of my head. So the next day, Peg dons a deep golden yellow structural satin gown with a
Beautiful.
teal, like, reverse side. And she tells us that this week she did question Mel. She was nervous because she wants commitment and she's not sure if he's ready for that. She came into this guarded, but Mel helped her open her heart up again after divorce and heartbreak. She's ready for her forever guy, and she's hoping Mel is that guy. What I think is interesting here is that we actually never see them discuss her doubts or fears directly with
know.
him. They go right from him sort of telling her about what happened with Cindy, and she's like, oh, that's kind of concerning inside, but she doesn't say that to him that we can see. Then they spend time with his family, and then the next thing is the proposal.
Or the non-proposal.
Right. The next thing is the proposal day. Meanwhile, Mel is chugging toward the proposal site on a little boat. He woke up nervous. As Diane told him, his analytical brain can stop him from listening to his heart. He has put up walls, but this journey helped him finally lower them. He's ready to listen to his heart. Because of Peg, he disembarks in his white UFOs and dark suit, which pained me. It deeply pained me, this outfit.
Rough.
And he waits for Peg by the golden rose on the pedestal. He tells us that they're perfect for each other. And at last, all of a sudden, he's gone from I like her yesterday evening to I love her. And then he seems to be like, well, I love being around her. Today, he says, is about fully committing to Peg and our future together.
Oh my God, he's ready. He's ready to commit. He's
She
done the
earned
process
it by playing through the whole game. And so now he's willing to acknowledge the existence of commitment. Jessie greets Peg, and she says that after meeting Mel's family, a future together seems seamless. And she seems very perky and happy, as always. Peg and Mel greet each other brightly by the proposal site, and he tells her, this is our time, this is us, and beams at her. And he does seem really happy.
He does. Peg says that when she and Dakota were working on their annual vision boards, one part of hers hasn't come true, her love story. But now that's changed. When she had the courage to get out of the limo, bomb suit and all, she references their fair date with Casey and the Sunshine Band and him meeting her family in Vegas, her meeting his boys. And she says, I absolutely love and adore that you prioritize those boys. She says she wasn't looking for anyone to sweep her off her feet or take care of her. She's done that for herself. But meeting him, she met her match. She knows he's the man she can trust to take the wheel, but she jokes she'll still have to drive the buggy. I loved this. She thanks and honors him for showing her who he is and that she can love again. It's sweet.
It is sweet. And I love looking back on their journey because they were some of the few times when I actually enjoyed Mel being on screen. Let's get to Mel's response. I believe we have a clip.
I reflect on our journey, and I've learned a lot of things. Listening and loving. I listen to you talk about your family and what it means to you and all the sacrifices that you made. I know you would protect them at any cost. I would invite your family into my family. You know, I trusted you, and you trusted me. And you told me you had confidence in me that I'd make the right choice.
Yeah, I did.
Right?
I did.
And here you are. I have something. I have a ring, and this represents our commitment to love, to give us time to figure out together what our future holds. What do you think?
The music is doing a lot of work here, and I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't help falling in love with you.
It's just a great song.
Great song. Peg agrees. she's like, we're totally on the same page with that. She doesn't need an engagement ring, but who wouldn't want a beautiful, looked like maybe a 3-stone
Neil Lane.
arrangement, which
Yeah, gorgeous.
that was what I always used to want as my engagement ring, like
No,
a
it's
3-stone ring. I
beautiful.
love them.
I'm so
And
glad that Mel did not deny Peg the ability to get a free ring.
a free ring, why not? I was worried he was going to pull a Juan Pablo and be like, I have this ring. Isn't it nice? I'm not going to use it. And he puts it on her finger while Neil Lane beams in like the inset
It's like,
camera.
I did that.
They embrace and kiss. And Mel gives her the final golden rose. He tells the camera that he got the perfect girl. And Peg says, I'm not for everybody. He's not for everybody, but we're definitely for each other.
I agree on all counts.
I really am actually rooting for them, to
Me
my
too.
surprise. Yeah.
I mean, Mel is only likable with Peg. So I hope he stays with her forever.
And I wonder if they are the right mix of, like, she's got the energy that he was afraid an older woman would not have. She's obviously like stunning and like full of so much life and vitality still, but also like she's used to being around a lot of men. And I feel like Mel lacks a lot of the like emotional intelligence that women are, most of us like really prefer to have in our relationships. Maybe for Peg, she's like accustomed to dealing with like this kind of pure uncut, like I'm a man, so I know emotions.
She feels comfortable around that energy, which she has said before. I also think that she is so confident in herself and her own life that she genuinely does not feel like she needs, more of a commitment than Mel is able to give. Like what he can give her is actually what works for her. And so
I do
a
think
lot of that is just compatibility. I think they are compatible.
And in some ways, I like the kind of relationship that they are
Me too.
looking to make more than maybe what Cindy was talking about personally, because I think ultimately Cindy is someone who believes in traditional gender roles, who wants the man to lead, who, believes that, I think she had a discomfort with chasing in part because of that she felt like it's her role as a woman to be chosen. And I sympathize with all of that, but I also think there's something really powerful about Peg being like, I'm an adult. I've lived a lot of life. I've taken care of myself. I don't need a man who's going to lead me or take care of me. I just need a trusted like partner.
Yeah.
And we can decide who is, like, maybe I drive the buggy and you do other things, Maybe
like
we
it.
don't get married right away because I don't need that to validate myself and my identity. Like, I
It's
love
not even
that
clear to
too.
me that she ever wants to get married again, right? Like you can,
Right.
Which I love. I love that that's an option. I think it's just about finding people that are compatible, and the two of them are.
And this was definitely the right outcome. And it didn't need to be ugly
That's
at
the
all
thing.
because this was the right outcome. And I think that while Cindy is valid in her desires, it makes perfect sense that Mel wants something different. Peg has that different thing. I wish them the best. He didn't need to be such a dick to Cindy the whole time. Like,
It was
for what?
unnecessary. Like fully unnecessary. So we do get to see Peg and Mel together on the AFR stage. Peg, always bold fashion. She's wearing like a sparkly red gown, big turquoise earrings. And Mel dips her for a kiss on stage. He's like very into her, and it's obvious. He's beaming.
It's cute.
It's
They're
very
cute
cute.
together. And as always, the first thing that the happy couple says is that they're very excited to be able to be out in public together. Mel says he was skeptical of the whole thing and he had to let it play out.
You don't say.
But he's always told people he doesn't need 23, just the one. And he found the one. And people awe in the audience. And he beams as if to say, yeah, that was a really romantic thing for me to say. Jesse asks what changed after the overnights, and Peg says it didn't change, it just grew. She needed something she could sink her teeth into. And she says they're both stoic, but in the fantasy suite, they were able to get to know each other without cameras, and she was able to start to like feel safe with him. She also says this weird thing. She says, Mel doesn't have integrity. He is integrity.
And no one
And
knows how to respond to this.
initially, some people clap, and it seemed like obviously she's like, people are gonna, this is now an applause line. So she stops to nod emphatically, but then the applause very quickly dies away, and she is just nodding in silence. So she has to be like, yeah, let that sink in. And I was like, this is all very weird. First of all, what do you mean he is integrity? I was like, is this a reference to Gary being called out at AFR for lacking integrity?
Maybe because I mean, that's a good point. I had forgotten about that. It was odd.
Like, because I do think that one thing that she and Mel are probably thinking coming into this is like, yeah, that was rough. Cindy might have some things to say, but one thing she can't say is that you lacked the integrity to be honest with her.
Right, you were
didn't lead her
honest.
on. You embodied that until the end, which is true. I think that Gary maybe leaned too much on the side of being emotionally affirming and
Open to
open,
everyone.
and Mel leaned a little too much on the side of being cold. And, there's no perfect way to do it except for the way that Joey did it. And I think we can all agree on that. Then we see some clips of their happy couple moments. They're working out, they're cooking together. He says again that he loves her energy. Jesse asks to see Peg's ring and says that Neil Lane knows what he's doing. And it is a pretty ring, I think. And again, Neil is like, thank you so much. He asks if they have more plans for engagement. And Peg basically says, not really. We have a clip of what she says.
Well, that's nice. Being in your 60s and going through life, you get to write your own love story. And we're on the same page. That's a love story that we get to write, the way that we want to do it, and to continue to grow our love, continue to spend time with our families. And that's the nice thing about being in your 60s and your golden years, is to being able to do what you want to do with that connection that you have with somebody.
I actually loved this.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of refreshing to push back on the expectation that like a successful relationship looks one way. And I completely agree. If they don't ever want to get married, they don't have to.
Yeah.
They don't have to ever get engaged. They can just be together.
Yeah.
For as long as they want
true.
to be together. And that doesn't mean they're not committed.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely true. And, I've talked a lot of shit about Mel for not realizing that he was on a show with a proposal at the end. But if he and Peg are both happy with a relationship that takes a different form.
Right. It's just about being on the same page. And I think what we're bristling at more than like him not wanting to propose to someone is him seemingly being baffled that anyone would think that would be a part of the process.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
the way he like treated Cindy is what was frustrating, not the like lack of proposal in itself. So Jesse does ask about love, and Mel's like, yeah, I'm in love with Peg. And Peg says she's in love with him too. And Jesse's like, yes, we got to win. It worked.
It worked.
We did it.
We got him. And Jesse asked Joan and Chalk for their insights. Chalk gets to talk this time. He welcomes them to the Bachelor family. And everyone seems a little confused because they've been part of the Bachelor family since they were cast, essentially.
I think Chalk is just like, I wanted to do my little bit I didn't get to do during the welcome segment. And
yeah. Yeah, he's like, this is my time to shine. He says, my prediction is you'll get married. I just see it for you. And I was kind of thrown by this whole thing. Like, again, when I was watching, it seemed like the sound cut out briefly for some reason.
Oh, I didn't notice it.
Maybe it's just, again, a glitch with how I was watching it. But the thing that really got me is that Joan looked like a little annoyed, and like just the whole vibe was not like, yay, they're going to get married. And I was like, is it because they just said they weren't looking to get married?
Maybe.
Or like, Joan just seemed like, what are you talking about?
Sweetie, this is why I don't let you talk.
This is why I'm the spokesperson. Gary finally gets a chance to offer advice and some thoughts as well.
He wisely says he has none for Mel.
He's like, Advice, I have no advice, but it's nice not to be the only guy who's done it, so thanks for being here. And Jesse is like, what great wisdom. I love all of that advice from Chalk and Gary, neither of whom offered advice of any kind, to be clear.
He's like, let's move it right along. Time to, frankly, the main event, a preview of Taylor Frankie Paul's season.
Yeah, the way they set this up, I was like, is this staged? Taylor Frankie Paul is sitting with the producer in like a gown, and Jesse comes in with a drink for her and is like, wow, you just had a really intense rose ceremony. What an intense rose ceremony that was.
Here's a dirty soda.
Can I talk to you for a little bit? And they sit down together. She tells him that she already has some crushes and it's hard to really choose who to send home because the men are such gentlemen. She says a lot of them didn't know her exact story, which must have been a really wild thing to be like, I'm a reality star already. And
also, I have 3 children.
The 3 children. And like one of them was with a guy that I've had a really toxic on and off relationship with up until like yesterday.
No,
And
up until he, well, no spoilers for Secret Lives of Mormon Wives here, but
yeah,
we find out what happened with them.
yeah, but she says opening up about it makes the men feel like they can also open up to her and she won't judge them. And I was like, it is interesting how this might shift the dynamic of a show where there is this very understood expectation that like your personal life has to be basically unimpeachable to find love
Yes.
on the show. It took a long time to even accept that people's parents might be divorced.
Right. It was like, wow, what a ding against them. And that does just kind of go out the window with Taylor because
Yeah.
her story is messy. It's very public. It's very imperfect. And she's not going to hide any of that from these men. And so, yeah, it does open up a permission structure to just like be flawed people. I mean, and
Yeah.
I think it's going to be fun. Like just the things that make her nervous about the show are so different than what I think most leads are nervous about.
Right. Like she's like, the PDA makes me nervous. I'm not like comfortable with that. That's like a big part of the
Yeah.
show. Jesse says that from what he's seen, the rule book is out the window and she's doing it her own way. I think we have a clip of them discussing what this looks like.
You are doing this your own way.
I'm not a very by the book girl. I just want to be more comfortable. The more comfortable we are, myself, the men, everyone in this, and how do we do that? I think we try to be our truest self. So if I want to wear Crocs tonight or any other night, can I wear my Crocs? Can we eat the food that's on the table? How about that? Can we warm it up? Can we get something else? But also if I want to, I think send people home before the rose ceremony, if I catch something, I'm sending them home.
Which literally happened a couple hours ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and he made it easy because, he was trying to fire back at me, and I'm just like, oh, absolutely not. Like, I'm not here to waste your time. Please don't waste mine. And if you're here for the wrong reasons, you're leaving.
Well, I think it's shocking the guys, too. I think you're keeping them on their toes also.
Yeah, and one of them was like, you terrified me tonight. I was like, good, good.
Honestly, this made me so excited for the season.
Yeah.
She's just like, yeah, I want to eat. I want to eat the food. Why is it there?
Yeah.
Warm it up. Get me some dinner. Like there's just like a sort of comfort. And because she is a big star on the network, like she feels totally empowered to just be like, oh, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, I was going to say, I love that the dynamic might shift here in a way where the lead actually feels empowered a little bit and not like they are sort of desperately trying to earn the role of the lead, which I think is something that we pretty much universally see with
Yeah.
bachelorettes, especially. And this fear that like the men won't like them, they won't be good enough. She doesn't have that from what I can tell.
No. And also she's like, I have a platform. I have an audience of fans already, right? Like I don't like need this exposure
Right.
to launch myself. Like she kind of has all of that. And her whole charm is just being very off the cuff, open, and like quite empathetic to other people, but also not holding back at all if she is upset with someone. And that is going to be really fun to watch, honestly, especially for like the first half of the season where you always have like a couple villains emerge.
Yeah. I feel like it's gonna be like Emily Maynard without all of the, like, veneer of, like, she is the perfect genteel Barbie, like, princess. Like, there's gonna be I feel like we're gonna see, like, some of that feistiness and some of that, like, don't judge my family or, like, my personal life, like, know your place. Like, I'm excited for some of that energy.
Me too.
Um,
I'm quite excited.
She reveals that some of the Mom Talk women visited for a group date and gave her good info, and Jesse's basically like, "They really lashed the men. The men are still recovering." I'm like, "Oh my god, what is going
I'm
on
like,
this season?"
yes, yes. Let them
Je
have it, ladies. We love to see it.
Jessie asks if she's falling in love and her husband is here, and she says yes. He asks what the hardest part has been, and she says sending people home, being away from her family, but her favorite part has been the unknown. Back in the studio, after this little sneak peek, Jessie tells us that this season is coming up right around the corner in 4.5 months,
I'm
Jessie.
so mad this season isn't airing in January. Like, they better be giving us, I don't know, like season 4 of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives beforehand or something.
I'm like, what are we supposed to do with ourselves? What are we supposed to do
I also
with
just
our lives
don't want
knowing this
things
is
to
out
leak.
there?
I don't
I
want,
know.
I don't want to be spoiled.
I know. It's so long. It's so far away. I'm praying for a quick return of Love is Blind to distract everyone, including myself. So it's time for more Mel and Peg or Meg. We could also call them Pell, but no one seems to want to do that. Jessie calls out Dakota and Lucas, who are in the audience tonight. Andre couldn't be there because he is signing his baseball scholarship offer
Yes.
that night. I guess they really do put sports above everything, even their father's love story. Dakota says that Mel has passed her test and he makes Peg so happy. Lucas says he's excited for both of them.
Great. And
Everyone's on board.
now it's time for some bloopers, or as Jessie puts it, our beloved bloopers.
They're really, I would say the Bachelor franchise is really known for their beloved bloopers. Like, it's a show of bloopers. And then sometimes, occasionally someone falls in love and gets engaged.
These bloopers are mostly women just being unable to pronounce words,
Yeah.
like Rolls Royce and peripheral.
Yeah. Debbie flubs the word companionship, which I think she does know how to pronounce. Paula Abdul can't count off for the cheerleaders correctly
Very
for a
rough,
long time.
Very rough to expose Paula Abdul in this way.
I know. She got through that episode and she was like, phew, no one knows. Diane, remember when Diane read the first date card for Cheryl and she was like, all right, I'm going to use my best like third grade teacher voice. 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. And then she reads the date card. No, in real life, she gets the date card and she has to do about 3 to 5 retakes because
so
first she just takes
good.
the card out and just shows it to everyone and it
everyone's
says
like,
Cheryl.
And the producer's like, no, you have to read it.
And then she takes it out and reads Cheryl. And the producer is like, no, you see this first card that's on top that's like, come with me for a night of romance or whatever. You have to read that one
She's
too.
like, and then go to the next one and then the next one. Just read them in quick succession.
And then when it says go to the next room for a surprise, that's just for Cheryl.
Yeah, the
not
producer
for
has to come out and be like, guys, no, just Cheryl.
They were like, as a teacher, we thought you would be accustomed to delivering information to a group, but you are really letting us down. There is a scene where the surfboard keeps falling down in the background of In the Moments. There's more ventriloquism content. My most embarrassing trait, I think, is that I laugh hysterically during the bloopers every season, even though they are not that good.
I do love the bloopers. I just do. They're my beloved bloopers.
But yeah, there's nothing too thrilling here, and yet I enjoyed myself. So I think the show needs it because often it's so sad.
Yeah.
There's often very little humor in the main part of the season. Then Jessie says that Mel didn't get the memo about not eating the date food, which is suddenly something that people are really talking about. Like Taylor's wanting to eat the food, Mel's wanting to eat the food.
I mean,
they play
I think we've thought about it for years.
I guess because they're having all these leads who've never been on the show. They're like,
Why
No
can't I
one-
eat the food?
No one told me not to eat the food. I mean, at first they're just showing him eating the kind of food that people normally eat, like a little snack at the carnival, hot dogs, like not like the plates of congealed food at the dinner date. But then we see that on his Pretty Woman date with Cheryl, he literally takes both of their meals home in a doggy bag and his wine in a to-go cup.
I really respect this.
It's just so funny because you can see Cheryl being sort of like, oh no, like you can take mine too. But she looks a little bit like you
She's
just
like,
see this
"It's
romantic date on
staged."
TV, but in real life, it's like your date is suddenly like, yeah, I'm taking that staged steak round home, shovel that in. Like he's not focused on the end of his time with Cheryl. He's like, box up that food for me, please. And I want the wine in a to-go
So
cup.
funny.
And
I'm
she's like, okay.
Look, he's like, I have a microwave in my hotel room.
Yeah. A little microwaved circle of steak to end the night. And Jesse takes this opportunity to tell one of his favorite anecdotes about his time as Bachelor, which is that leads are no longer allowed to eat on dates because he was so gross eating on camera. And everyone's like, okay, Jesse. I do want to take this opportunity to say that Bachelor in retrospect has been doing Jesse Palmer's season. And it made for a great, like, almost companion piece to this finale, which made me think a lot about Jesse, both as a former Bachelor who ate disgustingly on camera, apparently, and also, like, his understanding of the role of Bachelor as sort of like an emotional, like, shepherd for the contestants. And, like, I was just thinking a lot about Jesse's history with the show as I watched this finale. And the Bachelor in retrospect look back on his season is fascinating.
Wow, I've never seen his season. I should give it a try.
Well, the thing is that you can't see his season.
Right? It's like nowhere.
It's like the only one that is not out there anywhere, but they got their hands on it somehow. And so it's fascinating to hear about. I would love to see it someday. Jesse asked Meg about their upcoming plans, and it seems like they have a lot. Vegas, which is just where Peg lives, but they're going there. The Super Bowl. And Jesse is like, well, save some time because we want to send you on a trip to wine country in Napa. And Mel and Peg are like, yay.
I would be
great.
much more excited than they
I
are.
know.
That's
I was
a
like, did you
great
just
trip.
They're like, oh, whatever, wine country, sure. Thanks, guys. They were hoping for Antigua.
I'm like, I will take a free vacation. Thank you.
Yeah.
So the credits play over Jesse bringing Lucas and Dakota on the stage. Golden confetti explodes over them. All is well. And now it's time for love to see it, hate to see it. Let's start with hate to see it. Get that bad stuff out of the way. I hated, as we've discussed ad nauseum, Mel spinning things to make it seem as if Cindy demanded an on-site wedding before fantasy suites.
I know. He could not resist wanting to make her the villain, and it was an ugly look for him. It was unnecessary to make it look like she was the bad guy here when she did not say basically anything that he claims she said about this. I also hated to see that Cindy is still living her life for her future husband. I think that Cindy is clearly someone who has been through a lot in life and done a lot in life and done a pretty great job at living that life. And she is clearly more than qualified to be the standard by which she lives her own life. And I just want us all to free ourselves from the burden of trying to impress men that we might meet one day.
Also, just hate to see all the goddamn football analogies. Leave them behind, Mel. We don't need them.
The Bachelor loves the NFL. We know this. However,
this was a bridge too far even for The Bachelor.
I also hated to see Mel's tie at after the fun. You know what? I hated to see the tie. I hated to see the dark suit and white UFOs on the beach in Antigua. You can't wear a light-colored suit.
Yeah, a linen suit. Mel's fashion was just egregious from top to bottom this whole season.
And meanwhile, Pell. Not Pell. Pell did not look like $1 million. Peg looked like $1 million.
And
One
so
half
did
of Pell.
Cindy.
And so did Cindy. But the point being, Mel, it's time for your girlfriend glow up. Okay,
Get it together.
Get it together.
And now it's time for Love to See It. And honestly, there was a lot to love this episode. I loved to see Cindy standing really strong about the things that she wants and needs in a relationship and walking away on her own terms from Mel as a result.
Yes, go for what you want. I also loved Cindy's line, "I don't think I need to convince a man to love me." That's a crowd pleaser for a reason.
Also, loved to see Peg affirming Cindy's right to want all of the things that she wants directly to Mel's face.
Yes. And I actually did love to see Mel's friend Diane, even though she was like a little bit too much spinning Mel's big, smart, analytical brain as an excuse for his complete lack of emotional intelligence and sensitivity. I appreciated that she was gently like, please try to tap into your feelings. Like they clearly needed to bring in someone who he would listen to more than Jesse to push him to access a side of himself that was needed in this moment. And she got there. She gave him a framework for being like, it's okay for me to think about my feelings.
Thank you for your service, Diane. Also love to see Peg and Mel, Meg, Pell, happy together, a pair who seems genuinely well suited to each other. Just two beautiful, slightly emotionally repressed people in their golden years, united in love and not in marriage because they do not want that. Thank you very much.
I love that for them. I did love to see Peg at the proposal talking about how she doesn't need a man to take care of her and like really acknowledging how much she has done to take care of herself and
Hell
to
yeah.
be there for herself throughout her life. I love that she embraces that and that she's proud of that and that has kind of like freed her in a sense to find a relationship that hopefully works for her.
And finally, we love to see a really fun Taylor, Frankie, Paul Bachelorette teaser. Our only regret is that they are making us wait until March for this season.
Yeah, enjoy this sneak peek. Let's rate this finale on its love, happiness, and fun rating out of 10 champagne toasts.
I wasn't sure how to rate this one because there actually was quite a bit of love eventually with Peg and Mel, happiness with Peg and Mel, and fun with Taylor, Frankie, Paul. But the Cindy stuff was like the antithesis of love, happiness, and fun.
That is always kind of the pitfall of the finale. There is almost always a big heartbreak that counterbalances any happiness and fulfillment. That being said, I thought that this was a really dramatically satisfying ending to the season.
Agreed.
I thought that the Cindy portion of the episode was, while not maybe technically speaking happy and fun,
it was the happiest ending for her, to be honest.
It was the happiest ending for her. And I felt really angry at Mel during a lot of it, but also very impressed by how she handled it. And, it, you know, as a story, I found everything that unfolded kind of fascinating and everything that he said kind of fascinating. And then I actually felt like really great about the Mel and Peg portion. So I might actually give this an 8. I think this was a stronger finale than I expected. I had more fun than I expected. I felt that there was more love and happiness than I expected, even putting aside like what a complete dick he was.
And you're so right.
Cindy.
In a way, Cindy is also happy at the end because she doesn't have to be with Mel, a person she shouldn't be with, who isn't going to give her the things that she wants. So yeah, I'm with you. Let's go 8. Good job. Good job, Mel. You got
Bad
us,
job, but also
you got
good
us
job.
there eventually. We eked it out. And on that note, that is it for this episode of Love to See It with Emma and Claire. If you're watching this on YouTube, remember to like and subscribe to our channel.
Love to See It is a presentation of Odyssey. The show is produced by us, Claire Fallon, and Emma Gray. Our production assistant is Tatiana Knies-Smith, who also edits our videos. This episode was edited by John Bahar. Our theme music is by Tamar Haviv, and our art is by Aaron Nestor.
If you like our show, remember to follow us, rate us 5 stars, leave a review, and of course, spread the word to all of your friends about Love to See It.
If you want to get in touch, you can email us at claireandemmapod@gmail.com.
You can also find us on TikTok at Love to See It Pod and on Instagram at Claire and Emma Pod. And you can find our newsletter Rich Text on Substack at claireandemma.substack.com. I'm also on Blue Sky at Emma Gray and on Instagram at Emma Lady Rose.
And I'm at Claire E. Fallon. Special thanks to the team at Odyssey, Eric Donnelly, Kate Rose, Moira Curran, Melissa Wester, and Hillary Ship.
We'll be back soon.
Can you keep